Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I'm back with Kali, Flame of Samsara, Season 1, Episode 10. Y'all, last episode we finally got to meet Doran Bazoo. We have no idea who this man is. I did have the feeling that he kinda is like Amrit, but it could be just my impression. We just saw him for a few words until the last episode ended. So I'm intrigued to know what this episode is gonna be like. And let's just see. The executioner has arrived. Right, that was like Doran Bazoo's nickname. Episode 10, The Executioner. Shocked me. Devya looked up at him and asked, her tone suspicious, "Start what?" Doran nonchalantly secured the dagger to his belt and replied, "It was literally so funny. Like, we have the same dagger, and we were asking ourselves why there was the same dagger that we have lying on the table, and this man being a little bitch and grabbing it with all his force and being like, 'Give me back the dagger, it's mine.'" Getting myself reacquainted with Calcutta. I haven't been back in quite a while. I've heard so many interesting things about what's happening here, and now I get to see it all with my own eyes. Doran returned his gaze to Devi. She had no doubt that the most interesting gossip he must have heard about the Dozen and the city had something to do with her. At first it was almost flattering, then it became annoying, and eventually it stopped affecting her at all. She simply got used to it. She's a celebrity now. Hearing him mention his long absence, Devya remembered Christian's words. Lotte said that Doran should have faced punishment for many murders, but he was spared thanks to Vidya. We did learn it actually from Young Royals, where Wilhelm actually said, the royal family is very well at covering up mistakes. As Sara told me all this while, he has been living in Klipagrami, which is where the Bazoo family comes from, and managed their affairs there. Before that little bitch betrays us and murders the entire Bazoo family. Vidya must have hidden him away from the governor's eyes. Are you Doran Bazoo? The man nodded, his tone softened as he acknowledged who was standing before him. And you are Kara's little sister. Or rather, you used to be. Now you have a far more impressive position. Impressive? Out of your family. At the cost of my brother's life. I've heard about how he met his end. Dying trying to protect one of the women from the Dozen is far more honorable than with a dagger in your back. Or the boring way. Old age. Where's the tiger? Was that just a rumor? You want me to call him? Jump on him, Amrit! Jump on him! Devya couldn't help a grin. Even the formidable Mr. Bazoo was curious to see a pet tiger. He's at home, probably taking a walk to work up an appetite. Period. I did just say. You want me to call him? You want me to fetch him for you? What do you feed him? Your enemies. I mean, hello. Why else do I have a tiger? Don't mess with me. Period. I'm living. Only if I'm in a bad mood. I'd like to see that. Y'all, not the grin. Not the grin. Oh, he a love interest. Alright. Devya looked around thoughtfully, remembering why she had come here in the first place. I was actually here for a reason. I didn't mean to disturb your peace. Have you seen anyone coming through here? A maid, for an instance. Maybe you saw her run past. Doran his expression in passive thought for a moment. Someone was running, but I didn't see them clearly. Did they run past you? In this hallway? Are you looking for someone, Miss Sharma? Obviously. Yes, this is why I ended up on this side of the estate. Clearly unsatisfied with that answer, Mr. Bazoo asked with a smirk. Alright, women aren't allowed in the men's dormitory or something. So who is it? A servant, or for example...
For example? A lover?
I'm the one asking you. Have you seen the person you're looking for?
No, but I find a harder one. I ask you first. I already have my answer, thank you. I'm not... You know what? I already have my answer, thank you. You didn't see anyone. That's all I wanted to know.
You didn't either, it seems.
Period. I'm sorry, I don't give a damn. Goodbye. Davy turned away frustrated. I mean, this man be trying us too much. We do be telling you we came over here because we're looking for a maid. And you be doing all of this. Nah, you can go to Vidya. You can kiss her sorry ass, not mine. Whoever that maid was, she had definitely lost her. For a moment, the thought that it might have been Doran eavesdropping and then running away flashed through her mind, but neither of those things seemed to be his style. Doran was the last person Divya had expected to meet there. The exact date of his arrival had been kept a secret, and of all possible days, she had ended up in the man's wing of the Bazoo estate right then. Doran noticed her confusion and unexpectedly added,
I was walking to the meeting when my belt snapped.
He ran his long fingers over the dark leather strap around his waist.
I walked back to my room to get a replacement, leaving my bag on that table. I heard the sound of hurried footsteps. When I finished dressing, I heard similar noises again, but that was you.
I see, thank you. You should have started with that. Okay, let's not be too bitchy, okay? Thank you. He answered. Thank you. So they did run somewhere away after all.
Who are you looking for?
A maid! Someone was eavesdropping on my conversation and then disappeared down this hallway. Oh, I remember. Yeah, porrada. Like we were talking about how the Dozen is gonna try to cover up the fact that she's pregnant by Raj's child. That little bitch. Not actually taking responsibility, and the Dozen trying to cover it up by matching her up with someone that is literally 40 years older than she is. And now we lost her. Great. Doran raised an eyebrow and nodded in understanding.
You can't leave things like this, especially if your conversation was important. You're about to find them and deal with it.
How am I supposed to know where they are? We don't even know what that person looks like. Deal with it. Do you expect me to punish them? Or interrogate them to find out who sent them to sniff around? Devya was honestly not sure about what she would have done if she had caught them. The man shrugged. I would have just dragged them to Vidya. She seems to be the one that wants to have everything in check. She wants to be the one that does everything, that knows about everything. I would have dragged that snitch to Vidya. Let her deal with it. Devya was honestly not sure about what she would have done. Yeah.
Everyone has their own methods, but I think they have already escaped by now.
Exactly. So who am I supposed to look for, sir? Your relationship with Doran has improved. Oh. He stepped back, heading down the hallway.
Give up now. You should hurry to the meeting instead.
Great. Let's hope that that person didn't really understand what's going on, because if not, Rada's gonna have some serious trouble. Davy looked at him as he walked away. Vidya's younger brother reminded her a lot of the lioness and some small, imperceptible details. I did just say back then a few sentences ago that he can kiss Vidya's ass and not mine. He was also very attractive, of course, but that could have been considered a common feature of all members of the Bazoo family. I mean, is she wrong? He was dressed in a slightly shiny, expensive satin fabric. The soft, light cotton covering his long, strong legs emphasized Doran's figure. His footsteps were quiet, and he moved calmly and confidently. Suddenly, the man slowed down, turned around, and his amber eyes looked at Davy again.
Are you coming?
It didn't escape Doran that the young woman was staring. Surely she must have heard a great deal about him, as he had about her. Uh-oh. Devya blinked, trying to come back to her senses. Of course she couldn't stay any longer in the man's wing. Mr. Bazoo was supposed to escort her out. Without saying a word, Devya followed him. Doran kept walking without waiting for her to catch up to him. The young woman's gaze rested on his broad bag again. She wasn't quite sure how she was supposed to behave with Mr. Bazoo. Just like everyone else, you bitch at me, I bitch at you. I don't have this entire dynasty with we need to respect the Bazoo family just because they are like one of the heads of the entire dozen. I don't have that. I treat you like you treat me. You treat me like shit, I treat you like shit. I don't care about how much money you have. I don't care how powerful you are. Doran was an influential and respected member of the Dozen, and he was no longer very young, despite being the youngest heir. But with those like him, heirs and heads of families, Davy usually felt like she was on equal footing. They were all allowed no more than she was, or maybe even less. There were those who whispered behind her back and spread rumors, insinuating that if Miss Sharma had managed to seal the deal with the British lord was only because he wanted to marry her. They implied that all the skills she had shown during the negotiations were worthless. Of course, no one said that out loud. Y'all, I don't need to say anything about this entire situation again, do I? This is insanely ridiculous. They all let us study for 5 years just to come to the point where the simple fact that someone is a man, they will be capable to rule the family, even though they literally have no qualities in order to seal deals, in order to make sure that the Sharma estate and the Sharma family can survive and do right by their name. Just because someone is a man, apparently they can have the Sharma estate, everything. They can say, yeah, I make part of the Sharma family, I'm a man, so they immediately inherit the entire Sharma estate. Like, they can all screw themselves. Devi only felt contempt toward them. Some men were simply incapable of accepting the fact that a woman could be their equal. They were the worthless ones in her eyes. Of course, Devi made a point of acting tough and straightforward with them and focused on working hard every day to prove to the Dozen that she was worthy of her place. To be quite honest, I think this entire situation is ridiculous because it seems to me that we're literally fighting and for something that we will never get, which is appreciation and respect from the other members of the Dozen. They are literally willing to give the entire estate, what literally actually is supposed to belong to us, to our uncle just because he's a man. Just because he's a man. He hasn't been here the entire 5 years. We have been working our ass off, studying everything and managing the affairs that our brother used to do just in order to show that we can do this, even if it's not typical for the Sharma family to have a woman be the head, but considering the circumstances, she would be the one carrying the name of the Sharma family. And just because a man comes along and says, yeah, I'm claiming a right to the inheritance, everyone is like, okay, yeah, he is gonna get it because she's a woman. I don't get it. It makes me so mad, y'all. You know what? I'm not gonna get too much into this. I've said it so many times already. Like, every single episode I repeat myself. I'm just done of repeating it. This is making me so mad. Just because he's a man. Those who were in the same position as her, but not doing their part, annoyed her, and Devya didn't try to hide her feelings. But Doran didn't take part in any of that and had just arrived in Calcutta, so Devi had still to figure out how to make sure he would respect her. In terms of his position within the Dozen, he was somewhat on her level or maybe just above. Regardless of their social status, in his presence, Devi had found herself feeling uncharacteristically shy, even averting her eyes. Although Mr. Bazoo was not the head of this family, his surname carried a lot of weight. The name he was known by was no less intimidating, the Executioner. Devi knew he had been close friends with Kamal back in those times that made all the mothers in the Dozen clutch their heads in despair, times of turmoil, blood, and madness. He's been respectful to me so far. Maybe it's because of Kairas, or maybe he's simply in no hurry to make enemies. We will know. We will find out. As they reached the first hall, Devi looked around. Radha and Saraswati were no longer there. Doran raised his head, looking at the familiar murals and paintings.
It's like I never left. Everything is the same,
he says as he's rolling his eyes. How long have you been away? He was silent for a few moments, thinking. Oh my God!
17 years.
More than the life I can remember. Were there any particular urgent circumstances that forced you to leave Calcutta? How old is he even? Doran chuckled.
You could certainly say that. Even if our village is in the middle of nowhere, the family estate there is one of the most beautiful ones in Bengal.
What do you do in Klipagrami? as you manage your family affairs and solve people's issues?
And more. I also spend time hunting, traveling and horseback riding.
At the mention of horseback riding, Davy grew wistful. It had been a long time since she had ridden Deimos without a reason, just for fun. It sounds like you have a lot of free time. Don't you have a wife and children? No, he don't.
I don't have children.
You have a wife?
My wife remained in Klipagrami. There's nothing for her to do here.
A wife but no children. How strange. But he taken. We're not gonna be a homewrecker. We're not gonna be a homewrecker. He has a girl. She didn't want to come. After the fire at the mountain residence, everyone seems to be more cautious, especially in Calcutta. The man shook his head.
No, she has her own affairs and interests, and I don't interfere.
You don't interfere?
I'm not an obstacle to her happiness, if that makes it clearer.
Huh? Doran, noticing the genuine surprise in her eyes, couldn't hold back a smile.
Yes, that happens too. You're young still. There's much you don't know.
Like what?
For example, that if you don't love each other, the best thing you can do is leave your marriage alone and not ruin your life.
Devya did not question Doran further, as she thought the topic was becoming inappropriate, but his words seemed odd, as he spoke of his wife as they were not a couple but two strangers. It is common for a husband and wife to be involved in each other's lives, even in a loveless marriage, and children are usually a way for them to bond. But them, it sounds like they aren't even interested in having that. As voices grew louder, Davy realized that the meeting hall was just around the corner. Doran's face remained impassive, but Davy could see him looking ahead, almost unblinking, as if he was thinking intensely about something. He suddenly stopped in front of the door and spoke to Davy without looking at her.
Even though I lived in Klipagrami, I was always aware of what happened in the Dozen through the letters from friends and visits from family.
Finally, he turned his head, meeting her gaze.
You have always been an integral part of all the most interesting news. I've grown to know you before you had a chance to know me.
He walked inside without another word. Okay, he says you left an impression on me. I like that. The spacious hall, decorated in the traditional style, was full of light and fresh air. Between pots with colorful local plants lay expensive rugs and velvet cushions on which a few of the guests had settled. Davis was slightly surprised to notice that Vidya Bazu, both her daughters, Kamal, and Edith Tuka were already there.
Doran. Kamal. You've lived to see this day after all. You was the head of your own family.
The two men headed toward each other and hugged tightly. I can't.
I can see you hiding here in a beautiful place instead of riding in the wind with a saber in your hand.
Doran wrapped his arms around Kamal tighter and tried to lift him up. What is this? Is this some kind of gay moment?
You certainly haven't skipped any meal like a spoiled old cat.
Damn!
You've just forgotten how good food can be after living for too long in the middle of the nowhere.
To prove his point, Kamal threw his friend's arms off and grabbed him and then lifted him up, laughing out loud. Oh my god, what is this?
Even my leg weighs more than you. But my leg is stronger than the whole of you.
The two men began to wrestle in a playful way. Vidya, Saraswati, and Radha looked at them almost confused. I'm living. It was as if all the guests had ceased to exist for those two as soon as they had seen each other. The gayness.
Two bears. There's no way to tame them.
Radha whispered resentfully to her mother.
You could have warned me that uncle had already arrived.
Vidya glared at her daughter in such a way that she had no choice but to fall silent. Ma'am.
You haven't earned enough of my trust for me to tell you anything at all.
Oh, Vidya, this little whore. Sorry. I'm so sorry, y'all. I hate it when people disrespect people. I just hate it so much. Like, she can't do anything. She fell in love. Sorry for being a human being. Sorry for being a human being and for having fallen a slave to one of the most natural things in the world. Love. She loves Raj. I'm sorry, ma'am, that it's not of your liking, but she can't do anything about that. She's a human being. She's not a robot. Now you already want to marry her off to that old bitch. Now be silent. God damn it. Sarah scoffed indignantly, but before she could say a word, her mother's withering gaze had fallen on her as well. While Doran and Kamal were talking, Devi approached the twins. They immediately got close to her. Things had not been going well for them with Vidya lately. Oh no, poor Vidya. Devi snatched Saraswati. Did you find anyone? No. God. Sarah took Radha's hand gently in a silent gesture of support. Path of passion. Devi narrowed her eyes unkindly and said through gritted teeth, I'm going to find the maid who's been eavesdropping and make her regret she was ever born. But before that, we'll discover who paid her for it. Your reputation is worth a lot more than someone's ambition and desire to uncover other people's secrets, Radha. Sarah only smirked. She ran off somewhere to the man's wing. I couldn't find anyone, but Mr. Bazoo said he heard footsteps. You ran into Uncle in the man's wing. Devi simply nodded, glancing at Doran, who was still talking to Kamal. Many different emotions were flickering across the man's face right at the moment. He had been much more reserved with her back in the hallway. The most important thing is to get this sorted out before Roma start. Are we sure it was a maid someone bribed? Could it have been someone else? It was the first time someone eavesdropped on us in your house. It never happened before because no one was interested in us. And now? Radhika. Mother. All three of them raised their heads. They had noticed Vidya calling for her daughter a few times already. Kamal and Doran and Ered were also staring at the young women. The head of the family doesn't whisper in the corners. Come here this instant. Radha only nodded, obeying her mother's commanding voice, and walked toward her. Saraswati and Devi looked at each other. Their carefree childhood felt very far behind them. Oh, yeah. Especially now that she is this arrogant little bitch, because she's like, I can't trust you. You disappointed me too often already. I can't with this woman. Hello, Devi. Devi smiled back at him and playfully bowed. Are the DOOBAYs on their way? Devi tried to ask that as casually as possible so it wouldn't seem suspicious. We want to see Ram. We just want to see our man. She and Ram had already spent quite a lot of time together recently, and soon they'd have a ritual to perform. It felt unbearably difficult to be attracted to one man while preparing to marry another. I'm so sorry. Vidya shook her head. No, everyone I need is here. That doesn't sound right. The woman looked at it. Something sinister flashed in her large dark eyes. I hate it when people are like this. I am a person and I have the right to say something, bitch. What's not right is killing your own while pretending to still be on their side. I suspect the one who betrayed us is not simply a member of the Dozen, but someone in the top 7 families, a person of influence, not an insignificant name at the end of a list. We'll organize a meeting with Raj separately. First, I want to discuss things with those I trust. Huh? This woman is a mystery, y'all. Didn't she just say that she didn't trust Radha? Ered lowered his gaze to the floor, replying to Mrs. Bazoo. You might cause a fracture within the Dozen. I had that consent, Mr. Thakur. I'm not loyal to me. I'm loyal to the ruling family. As in the Bazoos. Vidya's pressuring him. Oh yeah, we have long forgotten what loyalty is. Oh yes. Nobody thinks about the Dozen nowadays, only about themselves and their own family. I don't regret anything I'm saying. To be blindly loyal to someone seems to be the peak of foolishness. Whoo-hoo! That's what you take, bitch. Vidya pressed her lips into a thin line, glaring at Devi. Is there something you want to say, baby? After all, you are kind of forcing me to marry someone. Yes, I did say she needs to see the full picture, but still, I hold resentment towards her. If she would have told us that we have to, just informing us before them all preparing us, this is literally like you knowing that the person in front of you is about to die, and you'll don't even let her know that you're about to kill her. You just stab her in the back. No. Yes, but that's exactly because there's a traitor among us, the one I'm trying to find. You're thinking of this from the wrong angle, precious miss. Oh yeah? Vidya sighed and reluctantly continued. I will only tell Dubai what I deem necessary. Believe me, Raj is doing the exact same thing right now. Whispering to the other hairs, planning something. Radha wanted to object, but Sara's stern look stopped her. Do not defend this little son of a bitch, ma'am. Defending him in front of his mother was a bad idea, especially considering her situation. Yeah. Vida ordered the maids to bring wine. As the room buzzed with activity, the clicking of trays and glasses brought everyone to their seats. Mr. Bazoo noticed how the twins glanced at their mother and then whispered to each other. She was strict with them, but the family's temper could not be easily tamed. Sara and Radha turned their attention to their uncle, and he smiled at them.
Saraswati, Radhika, it has been too long since I've seen my favorite nieces.
You came secretly. I didn't think I'd ever see you here, uncle.
I'm simply here to deal with the traitor within the dozen. Don't let me distract you from your own affairs.
The British won't make it easy for you. Of course, Christian is looking for the traitor as well. Doran nonchalantly leaned back on the sofa, resting his arm on the back of it.
Have you forgotten, sister, that I have a lot of experience dealing with the British? You can't intimidate Lord de Clare. I'm being serious, Doran. Think before you act. I won't help you a second time. I'm the one who will be helping you, not the other way around.
Damn, son!
You sat back shaken in fear for 5 years instead of finding those responsible and dealing with them.
Taking a small sip of wine, Vidya shook her head. It was probably very difficult for her to get through those kind of meetings while completely sober. She's in the mood right now.
People were focused on rebuilding their lives after such terrible losses, Doran. No one thought it was a betrayal. We were convinced it was just another attack.
Doran rolled his eyes.
The uprising, the Himalayan fire. Then what? We lose a family, mourn the dead, and we never strike back. But we should.
Mr. Bazoo's right. Another tragedy will soon follow, as Ratan said. We can't wait any longer. Warn the others about everything. Only tell them about the headaches. Huh. To be honest, they deserve to know everything. Warn the others about everything. We're telling them everything. No stone left unturned, because I don't want any surprises. No one can tell us that we didn't say anything, that we held back anything. We'd better prepare so we don't get caught off guard once again. We need an advantage. There will be another attack soon.
What?
Huh? Confusion and surprise could be seen on everyone's faces, and only Mrs. Bazoo and her brother remained calm. Doran just listened, and Vidya asked dryly,
Did the British Lord tell you that?
No, it was Mr. Vaish. Y'all, I'm just enjoying to watch her squirm or catching her off guard, because I don't like the way she's talking to Radha. She didn't decide to get knocked up. I hate it when people are being mistreated. I mean, like I said, it's her fault too, because she was willing to risk it all. But still, I don't think it's okay that they're doing all of this. I read from my comment section that Amrita and Raj are gonna get married and they're gonna be Amrit's grandparents, but it does not make the backstory of why they become Amrit's grandparents any better. Like, this is just so sad, because technically they're being denied the freedom to love here, and I don't like it. At least allow me to love. Vidya and Doran looked at each other. Hearing those words, the atmosphere in the hall changed slightly. An unsettling silence fell on the room.
What did he tell you exactly, Devi? You were discussing your headaches, right? Let's get to the point. What did he say to you?
My headaches are warnings that Mahakali is sending me before a tragedy happens. We don't know yet what exactly she needs us to do, but Mr. Vaish is certain that they are a bad omen.
That's not so bad. This is our chance.
Our chance to do what?
To strike back.
The man smirked, looking grimly from under his eyebrows. His fingers resting on the back of the sofa began to tap a fast rhythm.
Our answer must be found in the language of pain that our goddess speaks so well. Do you still remember it, Kamal?
He slowly shifted his gaze to a worried Kamal.
Devi, are you sure it's going to be an attack and not something else? That would be so reckless. There are so many people taking part in the festivities, including women and children.
I don't know for sure, but what I know is that trouble is coming and it's connected. To me.
To you? Why didn't you say anything?
What am I supposed to say, babe? It's still so vague. I didn't want to worry you for nothing.
Did Mahadeva say so? That the trouble is connected to you?
Yes. You warned some of the Dozen. This will affect the plot, okay? Vidya waved her hand and said sternly,
Calm down, everyone. We'll figure it out. That's why we're here. Who else is helping you with your pain apart from Mr. Vaish?
No. Okay, I'm scared that if I say Ram, I'm gonna be shot. But it's not a lie. And I kinda am intrigued to know what they're all thinking. Oh god, but I'm scared. Ram, I don't care. I regret nothing. As soon as that short name left Davy's lips, Miss Bazoo's eyes flashed predatorily.
I thought so. The DOOBAYs are everywhere.
There's so much hostility between Vidya and Raj. What could have happened? This is not just about Radha, is it? Your choice will affect the relationship between the members of the Dozen. Oh no! I think I should take matters into my own hands, y'all, and go with the walkthrough. Oh god! Doran rose from his seat looking at Davy.
Your engagement is a stratagem to bring down the British Lord, and everyone in the Dozen knows that. With his death, the British Raj will come to an end as well. But clearly there's someone who wouldn't benefit from that. The person who wishes you and everyone else ill must have a strong connection to the British. And breaking those ties would do them more harm than good. That's who we should be looking for. The one who has the least to gain from this.
I mean, is he wrong? No, he's not. And I said it so many times. Like, the person that is actually willing to be doing all of this bullshit is the person that doesn't want a peace treaty between India and Britain or England, however you guys want to look at it.
Even if you don't kill the Governor General, your objective is to overthrow his power. If someone does happen soon, it's clear that it must be because of the engagement. Right, this would be the second time this engagement is disrupted. It is suspicious. At least half of the members of the Dozen trade with the British, one way or another. Completely severing our ties with them is going to be disadvantageous to many, but that's more important. Money or right to our own land. You can find answers to while I search for that Asura.
I just love when they say Asura. I'm so sorry.
What if there's a massacre? We can't let that happen.
Sarah spoke firmly, staring into the distance.
We should not be afraid of danger, but instead meet it with open eyes wide enough to squeeze our enemies into our embrace until they breathe their last pathetic wheeze.
Sarah set him out for blood. Period. This is what you created, babe. You created this monster.
Saraswati understands what needs to be done.
The necessary evil.
Just be careful this time, Doran. You're our best hope. You have a talent for solving this type of problem. I'll deal with it.
Doran briefly cast a glance at Davy before leaving the meeting hall without another word. Vidya gave her final orders.
Don't say a word of this to anyone else and try to behave as you always do. If Doran needs anything and comes to you, you will receive him properly and give him whatever he asks for. I feel like this Durga Puja won't go by quietly.
Me either, sis. As everyone left the hall, Vidya took Radha away with her and Sarah grabbed Davy's hand.
Shall we go to my room? Let's talk in private.
All right, but Kamal intervened before they could leave. Babe, what's wrong with you now?
Davy, let's go home together. We need to talk.
I wanted to talk to Sarah. I need to talk to Saraswati first. Can you wait?
I'm in a hurry.
And so am I, bitch. I hate people that rush me, y'all. I hate people that rush me. I say I want to do this, and they say, no, you need to put your things aside because I want to speak. No. Then I'll visit you later. I hate the fact that she just don't have any backbone. So sorry, y'all. Because she always gives in to Kamal. The second he says, yeah, we need to talk, she immediately leaves the party. She stops whatever she's doing. No, I can't stand him. Kamal nodded and turned toward the door, making sure Arad was standing there, ready to escort Davy home afterward. Oh my god, look at this. Then they headed to Sarah's room. As soon as the door closed behind Davy, Saraswati began to nervously pace around. Why didn't you tell me about your headaches and about the conversation with Mr. Vaish? I didn't mean to worry you, like I said. It's scary to talk about my own death. Don't take me for a fool. You can tell your lies to anyone you want, but not to me. I'm sorry, I love her. I love Saraswati. She's like, don't be pulling all this bullshit on me. Like, I'm not stupid. I know you. I know that you're hiding something. I love her. And besides, you can be sure that hardly anyone in that room believed you. It's true that Ratan didn't say anything clearly. You know how he is. Sarah shook her head, removing the bracelets on her wrists one by one. I'm also worried that we didn't catch her, that mate. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. If Radha could get married a little sooner, maybe that would save her from disgrace or from being blackmailed. Saraswati clenched her hands tightly into fists and raised her voice. Someone is going to blackmail her, and that's the best-case scenario. At worst, her life will be completely ruined. Yeah, because she needs to be married to that old bitch. She threw her hands up, and Devya raised her eyebrows. She had never seen Saraswati in that state before. Desperate times call for desperate measures, girl. Have you seen who they want Radha to marry? Like, she's 20, this bitch is about 60 years old? Her anger was always measured, quiet, venomous. Radha was more likely to be the one raising her voice. Sarah stood there with her head down and her back turned. Devi's heart ached for her. And then she turned around. Sarah's face was calm, but her eyes were gleaming ominously. Oh god, she's about to kill someone, y'all. She's about to go on a killing spree and I will help. I just want the person that did harm to be punished. That's the only thing I want to. Just as Vidya did earlier. If I found out who did that, if that person falls into my hands, I won't hold back. Let me help you. I will hold your hair, girl. You won't hold back? What do you... Girl, don't be pulling all this. I remember in a show where, if you all know, The Vampire Diaries, where Michael said, in desperate times, even the devil eats flies. This is Sarah's motto. She's like, you be coming for me, I'm not holding back. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what to expect of myself. And that's the worst part. Come to your senses, girl. Do what you must. In my eyes, she must do what she must do, because in the time when a decision must be made, she will go with what she truly wants to do. That's the nature of a human being. So I would just say, talk to me. Talk to me, tell me what's wrong. Tell me how I can help you feel a little better right now. Devya approached her, reaching out toward her. Her hand rested gently on Saraswati's back and started caressing it softly. What's wrong? This is not about Radha, is it? Saraswati remained silent as she continued removing her gold bracelets. Sarah? I won't leave you. You're like a sister to me. You can tell me anything that's on your mind. Sarah turned to Devi, but her expression was no longer calm. She seemed lost and anxious, and her bright, shiny eyes were full of sadness. I have not been my usual self these last few days. I struggle to recognize myself. I stare in the mirror. I listen to my own words. I try to understand how I feel. I feel so bad for her. This is like the start of depression, y'all. And I'm not talking about like light depression, deep depression. I used to look myself in the mirror. I would dress the same way, but I would look in the mirror and I wouldn't recognize myself. I wouldn't like what I see. And I had the feeling that it means that I'm not the person that I truly want to be. That the person in front of me is just like a mirage, like a vision of who I used to be. And it's just so sad when you look into the mirror. You know what you look like, but you like look into the mirror and you don't recognize yourself. This is actually a metaphor. You looking into the mirror and you don't recognize yourself means that you actually have lost yourself. You don't know who you are. You have been trying to do everything in order to please others, just like to place an example. You've been trying everything to please others. You always wanted to do the best you can, but at the end of the day, you try to please everyone but yourself. And once you realize yourself, after having been kicked in the ass and for you having fallen down to the ground so many times and always being called disappointment, or that whatever you tried to do in order to please others, it was never enough, and you realize that you will never be capable to live up to other people's expectations and you can only be yourself, and that's enough, that's when you look into the mirror and you're like, who is this person I'm looking at right now? Because you've been spending so much time changing yourself in order to meet other people's expectations that you lost sight of who you truly are and who you truly want to be. And when you come to that point, you don't know who you are anymore. That's when you look into the mirror and you're like, who is this person? Like, I know what I look like, but I don't know who I am. Like, what do I want to do? What do I want to achieve in life? What are my personality traits? Like, how do I want to behave in a specific situation? You always try to please others. And that's why you always tried to say and do things that other people expected of you, but it wasn't what you truly wanted to do. And if you have done it for such a long time, you don't really know how you would react. Like if no one is actually forcing a reaction or words out of you. This is so sad.
Some of it feels familiar, but some doesn't. When I think about what I'd do if I were to find that mate.
See? She don't know. Her lips quivered.
My own thoughts feel frightening.
What kind of thoughts?
Cruel ones.
When she lowered her head, Davy couldn't help herself and hugged her tightly, locking her arms around Sarah's slender, delicate shoulders. Sarah whispered,
I'm afraid soon I won't be able to tell the difference anymore between who I am and the one who's not quite me.
Everything is you, girl. You just are trying to use the best personality traits, and that's not okay. Like I said it so many times, and I will have to repeat myself over and over again. We're 50% good and 50% evil, and a lot of people try to shape you to their image, and a lot of people say if you want to be a good person, you can only use your positive personality traits, but you have both. And by only using your positive personality traits, you're denying yourself the capabilities or the right to behave in a negative way, as in for you to tap into your negative personality traits. That means anger, that means sadness, that means despair, that means hatred, being impulsive, desire, lust. Those are all negative personality traits. And a lot of people try to shape you to that extent where you have the feeling that you can behave like this. But sooner or later you seek to become the whole you, and the whole you includes you also using your negative personality traits. And that's what's going on with her right now. Is that something that just started happening?
No, it has been about 6 months, or maybe a year.
Oh no, not her crying. Y'all, I'm about to cry.
But I only truly noticed it when it became a problem. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Thank you for trusting me with this. I won't tell anyone, and I will always be here for you. Saraswati, open up to you. Your friendship has become much stronger.
Thank you, Devi. Apart from Radha, no one knows about this.
Saraswati suddenly stilled and then threw back her head, her eyes staring at the ceiling. Oh, what is it? All the sounds around them began to fade away, leaving only an indistinct hum in the distance. Devi felt as if she and Sarah were suddenly covered by an invisible dome. What? Her temples started throbbing as her headache flared up again. Huh?
I think right now.
Sarah reached for Devi and clutched her cold, delicate fingers around her wrists.
We're not alone.
Huh? What? Devi hoped it was a joke, but the genuine fear and confusion on Saraswati's face dispelled any doubt. She asked, Who else is here? Sarah and Devi looked around, nervous and wary. But aside from them, the bedroom was empty. I have the feeling they're being watched. Devi felt her temples throb again.
Oh, my head. Your eyes.
Oh god, are we kind of like connecting with Ram? They didn't notice at first, but all of a sudden the silence in the room was replaced by a strange muffled noise that was growing louder and louder by the second. Y'all, I'm about to leave. I'm about to yeet myself off the window. It sounded like a wild guttural howl. There is someone here, Devi. I can't see it, but I know. And I want to find that maid so badly, and... Saraswati's fingers tightened on her friend's wrist with such surprising strength that Devya winced and had to fight the urge to immediately pull her hand away. Sara, please. Devi felt like her head was about to explode. What are these creepy sounds? Are they voices? Oh my gosh, y'all. Kali is calling. Oh no, look at this. Yeah, Kali is coming. When the hum became loud enough, Devi began to hear a chorus of thousands of voices crying in pain and despair. Are those like those kind of shadows that we saw in Kali Call of Darkness? Like those shadows that were trying to feed on us, as in on Kali, as in on Amala, in order to like ease their pain? Each one of them sounded unmistakably clear in its desperate terror. This is terrifying. Oh no, we're crying. The thought of her imminent death flashed in Devi's mind. It was the goddess' will. Maybe she wished her message to be heard again right at that moment. It's the Dark Mother. Yeah. Devi wrapped her arms around herself, not knowing where to look, where to run, or what to do. To be honest, how can you try to accept that no matter where you go, death will come to you? How can you accept that? How can you be fine with that? Sara stood there motionless, staring into the distance. Here, she's around here somewhere. You can't control your fear of Mahakali. How can we, y'all? I think she's whispering something. I can't hear anything. My head is hurting so much. It's a warning. She's warning us. Saraswati had realized that Devia's headaches and that strange phenomenon had to be connected. Warning us? Suddenly Sara twitched, clutching Devi's wrist again, and whispered, her voice sounding somewhat unfamiliar. Oh, Mahakali said I'm possessing her. You will spill a river of blood after you die. Don't be afraid. Death is always followed by new life. And blood is your greatest strength. Spill it and die. Y'all, I would be leaving. Me. Her head was throbbing so much that the pressure felt unbearable. Devi squeezed her eyes shut, almost crying out in pain, unable to even think about what she had just heard. But after only a few moments, that intense headache loosened its grip slightly, and Devi was able to open her eyes again. All around them, everything was gradually quieting down. This is so sad. And then it all faded away completely. Saraswati also seemed to be coming back to her senses. This is what Ram needs. I will tell him every detail of what just happened and he will be able to interpret it. I have to go. What? Now? You saw that, right? Did you hear it? Yes, how could I have not? Are you going to tell Mr. Vaish about this? I don't even know what exactly happened right now. I want to understand a message from the goddess. A message from the goddess? She don't know she was possessed. Saraswati clearly didn't remember that part, or maybe she couldn't even separate Mahadevi's words from her own. Devya didn't want to frighten her. With my headache, that's how she communicates. I will send you a message if I find out something important. Are you alright? Sara nodded, resigned. She looked at the easel in the corner of the room. I'm going to paint the comma down. Get my thoughts in order. Devi said goodbye and left the bedroom. She needed to send an urgent message to Ram. As she stepped out into the hallway, she suddenly sensed a trail of inexpensive perfume oil. Someone's hurried footsteps sounded very close by. No, not again. I won't allow it. Me. Without thinking twice, Devi rushed toward the noise. She knew it was unlikely she would catch anyone if a maid was really following them around. She had heard them saying goodbye and had plenty of time to run away and hide. But Devi didn't want to give up and quickened her pace. We're about to zoom in like the devil itself. However, as she turned a corner, she bumped right into Erik Taku. Oh. My bad. He staggered but managed to keep on his feet, catching Davy at the same time.
Careful, precious miss.
Erit?
Where are you going in such a hurry?
There is no time. Just tell me, have you seen a maid here? Did someone run past?
I think so, maybe a minute ago.
Davia's heart skipped a beat. What did she look like? Describe her to me.
Are you chasing her? Has she done something wrong?
Erit. Davia squeezed his shoulders, pulling at his clothes. I mean, to be quite honest, do we blame her right now? She's like, I need to find her, and you're trying to ask me questions. You can ask your questions after I found her.
Alright. I can't quite remember, but I think she has short hair, and a nose ring like Ram. And a gold bracelet.
Gold? On a maid?
I don't know, I guess that's why she stood out to me.
Davy was torn between wanting to keep chasing the maid and wanting to send Ram a message about what had just happened to her. Help me, please. Go to Saraswati's bedroom and tell her everything you have just told me.
Her room is in the woman's wing. You know I can go in there.
You're almost engaged.
Unofficially. Maybe we won't get engaged after all. There's plenty of other persistent suitors.
Davy tugged at his emotions, explained the facts. Scared him? No, come on now. To be honest, explain the facts. That maid has been eavesdropping on us. She must be found and punished, and I don't have time right now.
Did you hear something important?
Yes. That's not the point. The simple fact that she dared to do such a thing forces us to punish her severely. Oh, damn, sir. She actually reminds me of Amala when you're on Goddess path, you know? When you're on her side, you become so vicious and mean. The man sighed thoughtfully and said,
I'll ask another maid to call Saraswati here, and I will tell her what I know.
Thank you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have another thing to do. Devi was about to leave, but Erit stopped her, gently grabbing her arm. What's wrong, Erit? Oh my gosh, you're blushing!
Wait.
What?
I'm a little concerned about Sarah. There is something going on with her lately, and Vidya isn't paying any attention. She's too busy trying to start a war between the two main families.
So even he knows.
Give an eye on her, will you?
Oh, he cares. Alright. Devi said goodbye to Erit and hurried over to meet Arad. That's so cute. That was so cute. He cares. Devia didn't sleep well that night. I wouldn't be able to do it either, sis. She kept thinking that those voices, that airy chorus of pain that made her ears ring, were back again. Frightening images of fires, bloody massacres, and executions accompanied by screams and sobs kept flashing before her eyes. Whenever Devi was startled awake, sitting up in her bed, everything would go quiet and fade away. For a moment she wondered if Saraswati wasn't the only one who needed to be worried about her sanity. But by dawn, calm had returned, and Devia could finally rest until lunchtime. I have the feeling that fear is clouding her judgment right now. For the following week, the dozen, like the rest of the city, had been busy preparing for Durga Puja. Followers and carts with offerings for the goddess decorated every street. People seemed in good spirits as they joyfully rushed around getting everything ready for the festival. British officials were making sure that no sacrifices were made in the temple of Durga and Kali. Most often, the locals celebrated the puja there. The news that the executioner had arrived and was searching for a traitor had already spread throughout Calcutta because those bitches don't know how to be silent. All the gossip. None of the dozen dared leave the city, worrying that it would make them look suspicious. Doran and his men had been visiting all the families and the dozens, starting from the least important to ask in detail about the fire and other events. And so time flew by. Sharma residence. A few days later, the beginning of Durga Puja. The day before the beginning of the festival, Ram had contacted Devi in response to her message. He offered to perform a ritual on the first day of the puja to attempt to communicate clearly with the goddess. The plan was not without risk. Two young heirs performing a ritual together, such a thing could cause outrage or even a scandal if the other members of the dozen were to find out about it. A man and a woman left alone to serve the goddess. Many would have probably imagined the wrong thing, and that would have caused nothing but problems. That was why Ram suggested that the ritual should be performed during the puja. Everyone was going to be very busy with the festival, and even if Devi and Ram were noticed together, it wouldn't have raised unnecessary questions. After all, the whole dozen was going to gather at the temple, and hiding something important in plain sight was the safest option, especially as everyone was busy with their own more pressing affairs. Devya still had many things to do before the ritual, so she decided to get ready. Okay. Ooh. I think I'm more with pride. Look how cute this is. I love the outfits. Oh my god. Beautiful hair straight. Oh my god, the curls. Normally I would have to go with thick curls, but no. Beautiful straight hair. And it suits the outfit. Let's go. Nope. Second. I think it suits the outfit. Beautiful. The first day of the festival greeted Devi with bright sunshine and clear blue skies. The weather was truly beautiful. Just earlier, Saraswati had sent a message to Devi. She said that there was no maid in their household that fit Edith's description. Either he lied or she wasn't working for them. This news left Devi at a loss as to what to do next. Kamal had also reported that Raj, who was not immediately informed of Doran's arrival, was furious. Storm clouds were gathering, and a bad feeling had been lingering in Devi's chest since she had woken up that morning. Suddenly there was a knock on the door, and Aishwarya stepped inside. To Devi's surprise, she was carrying something.
Miss Sharma, this arrived from you from the Governor General's house.
Oh, cute. Is this a gift from Lord de Clare?
Yes, he sent this for you, Miss Sharma. How considerate of him. He's certainly trying to charm you.
Plumeria sent a note. Put this away somewhere. Nah, come on, accept the gift. Be kind. Leave it here, please. You can go.
I wonder what he wrote.
Please go. It's the gossip. It's those fangirls, y'all, I'm telling you. The curious woman didn't dare say another word and walked out. As soon as she was alone, Devi brought the flowers to her face and breathed in the sweet fragrance. They're purple, like the first time we met. I did say he was gonna do something like this. Y'all, I can't. I can't. Devya had chased her maid out for a reason. She was afraid that she was going to see how much Christian's attention was making her blush with joyful embarrassment. Y'all, I'm playing with fire. I'm so playing with fire. I'm not only romancing Christian de Clare, I'm also romancing Ram, literally the seer. It's not just Dubai, but it's also a seer that we're in a relationship with. This is so messy. I have the feeling this is the messiest way. There was something about the way he treated her that went beyond a simple business arrangement. There was something about the way he treated her that went beyond a simple business arrangement. Devi wasn't just a usual ally. He probably really liked her. Now the note. Good morning.
Good morning, dearest Miss Sharma.
Dearest.
Today is the first day of our holy festival, and I wanted my bride's morning to be in the best possible way.
He's calling me his already. Of course. I mean, what does this man have to lose?
Asked Ibrahim to explain to me the intricacies of the Hindu pantheon, and I found out that Durga is just one incarnation of the sacred female energy, and that she is also called Devi. Why am I not surprised?
Devi imagined Lord de Clare chuckling to himself as he wrote those words.
If you can make time for me after the festivities are concluded, I would be delighted to see you. These flowers always remind me of the day I met a very special woman named Devi.
Aww.
Sincerely yours, Christian de Clare.
Aww. So sorry. Such a sweet talker. Y'all, I really hope that I don't kill him. I'm actually scared. I'm scared because I read a comment. She said I'm about to kill him. I do not want to kill him. I want this man to be alive. He is so cute. I love him. Devya buried her face in the flowers again, trying to hide even from herself the wide and silly grin those words had put on her face. Oh, same, girl. Oh, same. I literally was grinning and was like putting my face onto the screen of the phone. Her heart was jumping out of her chest. That was ridiculous, y'all. I'm actually playing with fire. Without thinking twice, Devya took her writing supplies and sat down to compose a reply. Dear Christian, esteemed Lord the Can you be even more cruel? My dear groom. To be honest, my dear groom. Since he has decided to cross a line, I will cross it too. To be honest, like, y'all, I have to. You all know I have to. It's the teasing that makes my relationship spicier. Davy imagined him reading her words and laughing, or at the very least smiling. She liked that image. She's so in love, and I'm playing so hard with fire. She wanted him to wonder if she was joking or being sincere. Thank you for your gift. It made my morning brighter, just as you wished for. The first day of Durga Puja is sacred to us, and I will spend it with my family, friends, and other members of the dozen. An unsettling thought flashed in her mind. What was expecting her was not going to be an easy day at all, not because of the festivities and service to the goddess, but because of what might happen next. If I find myself having any time and energy left, I will be glad to see you. Your bride, sincerely yours, Miss Devya Sharma. Your bride. I have to, y'all. You know I have to. This might be too much. Ugh, fine. I'll leave it like this. Everything is almost decided anyway. I'll leave him be wondering. Let us butter him up. Devi reread her note again and felt satisfied with what she had written. She then folded it carefully. She called out to Aishwarya and wasn't surprised when the maid appeared in her bedroom only a moment later. She must have been pacing back and forth by the door. She's the biggest stan, y'all. Yes, Miss Sharma. Please have to send to the Governor General's residence and tell them to deliver it directly into the Lord's hands. All right. The maid burst into a smile but immediately ran away after meeting her mistress' stern gaze. What? You accepted Christian's gift and sent him a reply. He'll love it. Then it was time to go meet Kamal. Surprisingly, Devi didn't feel nervous, even though by all indications that day could have been her last. Oh God. Nakali's words spoken through Sara had instilled such terror in Devya that it was almost as if something inside her had gone completely numb. She was facing her own death. She had to spill someone's blood. How could anyone bear those revelations? As soon as those thoughts would cross her mind, she'd immediately shift her attention to something else. She could not allow herself to be afraid or to give up. Y'all, sometimes you have to take life as it comes. Sometimes you have to take it as it comes because there's nothing else you can do. Rai residence. Oh my God. Devi and Kamal were sitting in one of the halls of his luxurious estate working. He was still mentoring her, helping with her business affairs. They had some paperwork to sort out before going to the festival.
Right here, see? There's the list you'll need for the rabbit supply deal.
Gods, do I really have to write everything myself? Can't Ara do it and I'll just dictate to him? Me!
Of course. Shall we get Ara to manage the mines on your behalf too?
Oh, Kamal, shut up.
If you want to do your job well, you have to understand all of its intricates and processes from start to finish. First you do the task yourself, and when you're confident you've learned it well, you can assign it to someone else.
Alright, whatever you say. I can't wait to learn well so I can have someone else do this work. Me.
Come on, where's your enthusiasm?
Babe, I'm about to die. They focused on the papers again. Soon after, their work was interrupted by Amrita. Radha, am I distracting you? Nah, you can come here, girl. You can come here, it's fine. I needed an extraction. I needed this distraction. The man broke away from his work, raising his head.
What is it?
Mr. Basu is here. He asked to talk to you, and then I need to go see Raj. Would you please accompany me?
Of course.
The man stood up from the table, glancing at Devi.
Let's finish here for today, shall we? I need to go now, but I'll meet you again later.
I'll go to the temple then, alright?
Don't forget that the ritual to celebrate the beginning of Durga Puja will be held in another temple today.
Which one?
It was Raj's order. He said it would be safer to gather at the Mahavira temple.
The Dasa Mahidevya was a group of 10 Indian goddesses deeply revered by the locals. 10 different incarnations and guises, each symbolizing something different. That surprised Devi very much. But there is no Durga among the Mahidevyas. There is Kali, Baivir, and others, however.
Ram said it was better that way, rather than serving in the full view of the British who are on duty during... Ram said it was better that way, rather than serving in full view of British who are on duty around Kalighat and Durga temple outside the city.
That's right. They expect us to gather here and maybe perform sacrifices. Today's an important day, and we don't want to expect. It's better to be careful.
After all, the Mahadevyas are manifestations of the goddess, just like Durga.
Well, if Ram said so. Kamal walked away to meet Doran Bazu, and Devya shifted her gaze to Amrita. They finally had an opportunity to talk to each other. How are you doing? How's Raj?
He's not been in the best mood lately. Something is really bothering him, but he doesn't share his troubles with me.
Someone being pregnant with his child, that's what's bothering him? Or some secret hostility with Vidya? I hope what bothers him is your prolonged engagement. Mr. Bazu will definitely get to the bottom of it. To be honest, I hope that's what's bothering him. You should have been married a long time ago. Amrita slowly walked over to the table where Devya was sitting and sat down next to her.
You know very well what times we're living in.
No, I don't. Nobody's getting married because they are worried about being betrayed, but Raj knows very well that you're loyal to him. Legacy? The two women fell silent. It had been a long time since they talked. It was hard to still call them friends, so that pause felt uncomfortable.
Well, I better go.
Amrita motioned to stand up, but Devya suddenly looked at her seriously. Are you sure you're happy? With him? Why is she smiling? What's so funny? Amrita's round face was suddenly beaming with a broad smile, and her laugh echoed in the hall.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking that you haven't changed at all. You're warning me against Raj as you did in the past. Do you still care for me?
Just because we haven't had time to talk doesn't mean I don't care. Of course I do. Why would I not? Amrita smiled warmly and reached out to Devi, taking her hand in hers.
Thank you, but I have no choice but to be happy with him.
Do you? I don't think so. He keeps postponing this wedding.
I know why he's doing it. The same reason why you are in no hurry to marry the Governor General.
Amrita stood up and then said, her voice calm, so she knows you don't like her.
He simply doesn't want to be with me because he doesn't love me.
I'm sorry, yet she still is willing to marry him. Does she love him still, though? Because she's saying it so casually. Without saying another word, Amrita left the hall. This isn't right. She looks so lonely. After the puja, I will meet with her and we'll talk. We need to rekindle our friendship. I'm so sorry for her. Amrita doesn't deserve this. But it's kind of also her fault. Like, she wants it like this. That conversation had cast a bitter shadow on Devya's soul. Devya got up and began to get ready to head to the Mahadevya temple with Arat. This is just so sad. She decided to get to the stables by taking a shortcut through the terrace, and to her surprise she ran into Doran Bazu there. Apparently the meeting was already over and Kamal had left to accompany Amrita. Doran was sitting with his legs crossed, reading a book intently. Me. Devi hadn't yet decided whether to say hello or just walk by, but before she could do anything, Doran, without taking his eyes off the pages, addressed her first. This man, he's a menace.
Good morning, Miss Sharma.
The man looked up at her.
May Mahar Durga be merciful to you.
Thank you. May Mahar Durga be merciful to you too.
Thank you. Are you already busy this early in the morning?
That's a burden off the head of a family.
How boring.
Path of passion. Not as boring as being left on the sidelines in the middle of nowhere away from anything important or interesting. Ba-dumpts. Would you not agree? Doran closed the book, looking attentively at her.
Is that so? Well, I do agree. That was quite boring. That's why I'm here now. To have some fun.
They were silent for a while. Doran looked at her up and down, her styled hair, her beautiful outfit, and the stack of papers in her hand. Sighing, he brought his gaze back up to meet her eyes. What makes you think you can allow yourself to stare at me so brazenly?
You allow yourself to do the same.
Hardly.
I'm just curious. I've heard so much about you from Kairos back in the day. A wild girl, a warrior. She won't get off her horse and give up the Deaka. She runs off at night. You should have seen my face when I tried to imagine such a person. I didn't even believe it. I guess I was right.
His smile faded away into a bored expression.
All I see is a busy but ordinary woman.
Devi grinned, shrugging her shoulders. Being thought of as ordinary is not an insult. It's wonderful, actually. The weight of others people's expectations and hopes is a burden, and most often it prevents you from living happily. If I cared about what you think of me and what you expect, I'd probably be upset. But I don't care at all. See how nice that is? She actually said I don't give a crap. She said I don't care if you don't like me.
Don't you miss your dagger and Janai drives through the fields? Not even a little.
Devya fell silent, lowering her gaze to the floor. Did she miss that or not? Strangely, she wasn't quite sure she could answer that question. Doran noticed her hesitation, so he continued.
I wanted to see you wield a weapon and do whatever you want. But I guess I'm 5 years too late for that.
High dignity! You have no idea what it takes to constantly prove that I'm worthy of my place while missing my brother every single day. You're a man, and you're born with the right to do everything in this world. I have to earn every single thing I have, including people's respect. Period. You let them know. And as I work hard to fulfill my responsibilities, the last thing I want to do is ride around a field with a dagger in my hand for no reason.
It's a shame that Kaida's death broke you.
Damn. He did not have to call her out like that. Doran spoke casually, without even realizing how much pain he had just caused Devi. Not with his words, but with the realization that hit her after hearing them. Am I broken? All this time I have been telling myself that I can handle anything and that I have been successfully doing so. Y'all, I don't need to say anything about this. I did say what's going on with her. I did say she didn't take the time to heal and that she tried to be busy in order for her thoughts not to get the upper hand. She tried to keep herself busy, plunging herself into work after work so that she doesn't have to deal with the pain that she has. I even started believing that I could fight anything. I even started believing that I could fight against the fate the goddess herself had prepared for me, and yet I'm afraid to pick up a dagger again.
That upset you.
Yes, it's like you're trying to pick a fight. The man looked almost genuinely surprised as he rose to his feet.
Oh, not at all. I just wanted to wake you up.
Wake up? Doran approached her slowly.
Even if you think otherwise, I'm convinced that other people's expectations are actually weighing on you down. You lost sight of who you are in your endless effort to prove yourself to earn people's respect. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
I want to help the Rakshasi within you to awaken again. You do realize that tonight could be a difficult night, don't you? And for some, the last.
Yes, for me. But I want to die, huh?
You need to be prepared for that, so I've brought you something.
He pointed to the table. Davia saw an oblong object similar to a saber in a beautiful golden scabbard. Oh, wow. A kanda? Doran grinned, examining the Indian sword with admiration as if it were a piece of art. Davia took a closer look, and her eyes shut up in surprise. Were these stones cut by our master?
Yes, look at how fine this work is. This was your brother's sword.
Oh, yeah, and also sentimental value, huh? Doran picked it up and twirled it in his hands. The light shimmered on the bright, polished gold.
God has fought alongside me and Kamal when we needed him too. But eventually his priorities changed because he had to take care of his little sister, who needed his attention and protection.
Mr. Bazoo moved closer and gently took Davy's hand in his. Her fingers seemed very small in the man's strong palm. I have the feeling right now that he's trying to say that it's our fault. Without pulling away Davy, I let Doran hand her the kanda. It's not very heavy.
It's yours now.
Oh.
And Okaida died trying to protect you and other members of the Dozen. He was a very brave and noble man. He also loved you very much.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry, because like I said, she didn't take the time to process everything. She didn't take the time to heal, so now the emotions are catching up with her. Davy lowered her head. A lump rose in her throat, and her tears welled up with tears. Her brother's death had really broken her. She missed him so much. A single tear escaped her eyelashes and rolled down her cheek. Davy didn't expect Mr. Bazoo to catch it with a gentle brush of his finger and then softly wipe it off her face. He knows what it feels like. It seemed like he had a lot of respect for her brother. And he kind of seems to have loved him as well. You know, like, I don't know. We know that he's older, so Kairas maybe was to him like a little brother.
Don't cry, Davia. Let your grief fuel your rage. Let it be your strength. Fight until the end and protect yourself like he protected you.
Doran was standing very close to her. He smelled of good quality tobacco, mint and expensive leather, or at least that was how Davy would have described his scent. She clenched her fingers, accepting Mr. Bazoo's gift. Thank you. Davia raised her head, fighting against any embarrassment his close proximity was causing her, and looked straight into his eyes. Y'all, this would be the most deadliest combination if you ask me. I heard that someone said that apparently I'm gonna kill Christian, but I don't wanna. So if there's a say in it, I want him to be alive. Now imagine the drama. Imagine the sauce. Imagine the sauce. The oldest brother. Imagine the spice the story would have. Me playing Christian, Ram, and Doran. God damn it, y'all. A smile touched the man's full lips.
There you go. Now I can see the determination I've heard so much about.
Okay. Y'all, he's a kind of enigma to me, but I kind of like his attitude. He's like, I've heard so much about determination, but right now I don't really see it because she looks lost, she's broken, she don't know what to do. She has to come to terms with the fact she's gonna die and with the fact that she won't be capable to do anything about it because if it is the wish of the goddess, apparently she can't do anything but obey. And if you know that your life is predetermined and you can't really do anything about it, it kind of takes the will for you to continue to fight because you're like, no matter how hard I try, it won't be capable to change anything. I will still die at the end of the day. So just looking at this, Dora moved away and Davy let out a silent deep sigh. His unmistakable scent hit her nose again and as he took a few steps back. She needed to pull herself together immediately. The man sank back down on the sofa and resumed his reading.
See you at the Mai Devi temple, Miss Sharma.
Davia left the room, still digesting that conversation. I'm kind of digging him, because it's not like he's just like an arrogant fool or something. He seems to have a lot of wisdom and it doesn't really seem that he's talking just to seem cool or like just to flirt or anything. Like, you know, talking a lot, a big bark but no bite. He seems to actually know what he's talking about and he seems to actually have pure intentions at heart. And that makes him good in my book. The plan was simple. First, Devi was supposed to arrive at the temple and go find Ram. They'd prepare together for both the festival and the ritual, after which they'd go meet with the rest of the dozen. In the evening, the main ritual would begin, performed by Ram as the main Brahim. Later, Ratan would appear and take his place, and while the others were busy celebrating and performing their religious practices, Devi and Ram would discreetly leave. They'd hide in a private hall where they would try to contact Mahakali. Arad had offered to bring the tiger along with him so that Devi could walk with him in front of everyone. Similarly to the great Durga, Miss Sharma had her own pet tiger, and having him with her as she celebrated Durga Puja would have been very symbolic. While Devya would be getting ready with Ram for the ritual, Arad would return to the Sharma residence and pick him up. They rode for at least half an hour. On the way, Devi kept going back to the thought that had settled in her mind after her conversation with Mr. Bazoo. Arad, how much do you think I've changed?
Very much so. You're so elegant and powerful now.
Can you imagine that I used to be able to mount my horse at night, take my blade and ride off into a field?
I've heard you used to do that, but it's very difficult to imagine such a thing.
Her assistant's laugh was so spontaneous that Davy suddenly knew she had truly lost a part of herself after the fire. I mean, how could you not? It's not like she didn't see it happen. Like, a lot of things happened that night. The British became her enemies because she blames them. She lost her brother, and the only person that has ever been there for her, like truly, as in he was like her main guardian. He was the one always being there for her, taking care of her. And no matter how much she like started to play around or like not taking responsibility seriously, because Kairas was the one leading the Sharma family, he was always there for her. He had pure love for her, and at the end of the day, he actually died because of her. He wanted to save Rati, as in he died being a good person, and on the other side, he kind of still died because of her. I don't know if they're gonna dig deep into this part, but we know that Rati died because the bride of the English governor is supposed to die, and apparently that was supposed to be us. But because Ram lied back then and had Rati take her place, she was the one that died. And Kairas wanted to be a good person, and he wanted to save Rati, and he was the one shot as well. Because from behind, it could have looked like he was trying to save us. And that's all they cared about. So they shot Rati, and they shot our brother Kairas. So she's like, if I would have been the one there, maybe only I would have died. You know, like she's blaming herself. And it all leads back to the fact that she didn't take the time to grieve. So it's not like she's broken or anything. She just kind of is lost, you know? She's lost because the reason that she always felt so lively and everything, like doing what she wants, etc., not taking anything so seriously, not being very responsible, as in very, very young adventurous, not taking anything too seriously because she knew that Kairas was the one handling that very adult stuff, which allowed her to have more freedom and to be more child, like allowing her to actually have a childhood. Like she lost her pillar. Kairas was a pillar. He wasn't just her brother or like the oldest son, and to a specific degree that would make him her brother, her father. He was her pillar. She lost her pillar that night, which is also something that I've said in so many reactions already. She lost her anchor. So now she's lost. She needs to find a new one, or, which is something that will need a lot of time, she needs to become her own anchor. And that takes time. Her reluctance to continue practicing her old pastimes, horseback riding, fighting, was not because she longed for the past, but because she was afraid of the pain those memories caused her. Yeah, she didn't grieve. She needed to get back into fighting practice to overcome. I hope Kamal will support me. What is he supposed to do? Like, if there's a choice and we can choose, if you don't want to train us, we're gonna train our own. After a while, they reached a busy square in front of the temple. There were far fewer people there than in other temples, more appropriate to celebrate the puja that worked out to the dozen's advantage. If something bad were to happen that night, fewer people were going to die. Devyas was greeted by several Devadasi. Arat handed over to them the outfits prepared by the maids so that later Devi could change her clothes. He then went back to the Sharma residence to fetch the tiger. Oh my god, look at this. The Devadasi escorted Devya into a small hallway, walking past beautiful, spacious, and brightly colored halls. There were 12 halls in total, one for each Mahaveda, a common hall and a private one. The temple seemed large and immensely beautiful. Devi had never been there before, as she had carefully avoided attending any services to the goddesses. The temple priestesses left her as Ram DOOBAY came out of the Bahivia hall.
There you are.
Hello.
Are you worried?
No. Aren't you?
No, everything is going as planned, and you and I will finally know what our dog mother wants.
She wants death. Saraswati voiced that when...
I remember. Who would have thought that Macaulay would speak through her, not Radha? After watching her in the last couple of years, though, I probably shouldn't be surprised.
They were alone in the hallway, so Ram allowed himself to take a step toward Devi and caress her cheek.
Please relax. I know this is hard, but the outcome is inevitable. You know that.
I want to trust you. Trust him, bitch. You together now. Not long was left before they were very likely to confirm all of their fears. Does it get easier if you know everything for sure? No, because there is still this hope bubbling up that everything could just be your imagination. Devi shifted from foot to foot, not knowing what to do with her body. Ram was watching her intently, and that didn't go unnoticed.
It doesn't seem to be working out very well so far, doesn't it? You're about to make a hole into the floor.
Very funny. His voice interrupted her train of thought. Devi didn't even realize that what he was talking about at first. Huh? What do you mean?
You keep fidgeting. Anxiety's bursting out of you.
You're very observant for someone with an eye patch. Ooh! Ram laughed softly.
Teasing me, aren't you? That's better.
This man, I love him. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm really sorry, but I love him. He's actually great. Like, he knows how to tease. And he can also be very serious. Like, I need this kind of change, you know? Like, don't only be tense and serious, also be funny, but also be capable to accept sentimentalities. Like, I need someone that is capable to take it all in. And it seems to me that Christian only is capable to show, like, that serious part. Not that it's his fault, but, like, just one face is not really mine. Of course, he teases us and everything, but, like... Devi didn't answer and just gave him a worried look.
Rakshasi.
Ram swiftly moved behind her and put his arms around her waist, resting his chin on the top of her head. He pressed her against himself, confident that it would help Devya forget herself for a moment. Oh, he's so... No, stop. It worked. After only a couple of minutes, Devya let out a deep sigh, turning toward him. He lifted her chin with his fingers. He literally is just always there, y'all. He's always there. He always knows what to say. Like, his attitude is always kind of calculated. He immediately knows what to do in order to make us feel good. This is a keeper. He's a soulmate.
Do you feel calm, huh?
How can I be calm? I feel all over the place. I've been trying to hold myself together all week, but now standing here.
I know.
He's so broken too. His tension wasn't quite as easy to read. Ram knew how to control himself. He seemed unfazed, but his deep sigh and heavy sideways glances hid the same concern. Ram had grown used to suppressing his emotions, and right then it was even more necessary for him to do so because he didn't want Devi to worry even more. But it's not like he can actually fake forever. We know, we can see it. When she was by his side, there was no point in thinking of his own fears. Her fate was being decided that night, and he sympathized with Devi so much that the very morning he had caught himself having a completely irrational thought. I wish this had happened to me instead. No, stop! I'm in love with him. Like, this actually just proves my thoughts on the comment of episode 8. Where I was like, he is one of the people that actually can express himself that much. Doesn't mean that he isn't really feeling that. And we see it here right now. Those were his thoughts.
I wish this had happened to me instead. Hasn't she dealt with enough pain already in her life?
When Ram realized how sincere his desire to take all Devia's troubles for himself was, it quickly became clear that their secret relationship had taken on a new meaning, growing into something profound. He won't be capable to keep it secret for too long.
Don't think about it yet. Allow your heart to rest.
Leaning forward, he brushed his lips against hers, a new meaning to his gentle kiss, a new facet of his personality, a new side of himself. Devi saw him trying to support her, both with his words and gestures. Ram tried to focus every drop of energy he had on her. But this is a man. A lot of people can only show things through actions, and some only say words that can calm you, but they can't give you actions. I love a man that can do both. His touch spoke for itself, although it still felt unfamiliar territory. Ram DOOBAY and Devya Sharma. Who would have thought? Their attraction toward each other was undeniable. Devi felt intimidated by the future, but she relieved to know. But she was what? Their attraction toward each other was undeniable. Devi felt intimidated by the future, but she was relieved to know that they were together in the face of whatever obstacles lay ahead. Their circumstances, or was it fate, had led them down the same path. But where was that path headed? Devi was also burdened by the fact that she had to keep quiet about what was going on behind his back. When one feels something so deep and warm for another human being, it is also natural to want to open your soul. Let them into your life, tell them everything, yes, to wish to be closer in every way. Feelings had blossomed within her, but the circumstances forced her to hold back, upsetting her even more. That's why she wanted to kiss him even deeper, to atone for what she couldn't say. She wanted him closer. Devi could feel that Ram wanted the same. Time was inexorably running forward. Reluctantly breaking the kiss, Ram whispered,
"We have to go."
Devi was feeling better, and that was without a doubt thanks to the man in front of her. Ram interrupted her, gently putting his finger to her lips.
"Nonsense. No need to thank me."
"He's my man." "Something special is growing between you, more than just attraction, thank you."
"I'm glad you seem to be feeling better. That's all that matters."
They turned around when they heard voices in the temple's common hall.
"The dozen is arriving. Get ready, Miss Sharma. Tonight will be a big one."
And we don't even know what awaits us at dawn. Well, damn. This is just so sad. I actually feel bad because they don't deserve any of this bullshit. But sadly, that's how life is. Life sucks, and it kind of brings some bit of reality into the story. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in the season 1 finale. Bye.